when you talk to various people in and various organizations, whenever we talk about culture, they say, "Hey, culture is complex, culture is fuzzy," right? Well, complex, I understand, but fuzzy, I'm not so sure. What do you say? I thought you guys have figured out a way to define culture and also measure culture. So would you kind of enlighten us on those definitions and measurements?
Sure. Well, in a way, you are correct. For a long time, culture was a fuzzy topic. When you look at the internet and you look at the number of definitions about culture, you would get bewildered. People disagree to a high degree what it is. And let me also come clear to it right away that here we are not going to talk about national culture, but about organizational culture. It's actually a pity that we are not using different words for this type or two types of culture. But anyway, it was fuzzy because for a long time nobody has been able to make a precise picture of a culture. But nowadays that is possible. And I started to work with Professor Dr. Geert Hofstede in 1980. And then in 1985, the book was published, In Search of Excellence, which was a very clever title, because the book suggested that if you would read the book, you would find excellence. And their main message was, you will be only becoming successful if your culture is strong. And what they meant by that was that people, if you would ask them, can you describe your culture, they would all give the same description. Interestingly though, they didn't say anything about the content of culture. So then I went back to Hofstede and said, listen, you know and you have the methodology to do proper research in this field. Please do so. And that happened, and the agreement was that then if something would come out of it, I would be allowed to exploit the information, and that's what happened. So the research took place between 86, 87, and since 1988 I have used this information. And by doing so, we start learning a lot about work reality, because organization culture is about work reality. How do we define it? We define organizational culture as the way in which the members of an organization relate to each other, to their work, and to the outside world in comparison to other organizations, because culture at the deeper level of reality only exists by comparison. Because to the insider, what they do is normal. It's very hard to reflect about your own culture, because what you do is normal. And yet, this is a very precise definition. The only thing you could say now to me is, why do you use the word relate and not the word behave? Well, culture is more than only about behavior. It's about, for example, rituals. It's about who are our heroes or our anti-heroes. What are our convictions and attitudes? So it encompasses also behavior, but much more than that. And we can measure that very, very precisely.